Hi, good evening, everyone. So, here we are discussing about the day 7 of the Gear Up Mains Answer Writing. Those who are new here, I am telling about this program. In this program, we are giving you a mains previous year question, subject wise, that you will get in the Telegram groups on daily basis. You will submit your answer on Edukemy portal. This program is completely free for everyone. You can enroll to the Edukemy website at ₹0 cost. You will submit your answers and after submitting the answer, you will attend this discussion at 6 p.m. every day from Monday to Friday. So before attending this discussion, I want you people write the answer and submit to the portal, and our mentors will evaluate this. Okay. So in the day 7, there was a question was related to the modern history. The question was related to the modern history. In this week, we will do all question of the modern history from the Monday to Friday, and this is the second day of the modern history. And the question was, to what extent did the role of moderate prepare a base for wider freedom movement? To what extent did the role of moderates prepare a base for wider freedom movement? Comment. So, as usual, we will divide the question in 3 parts. One is the introduction. Second is body. And final is conclusion. Okay. Here, the question is asking us about the comment. What was the role of moderates for preparing a base for wider freedom movement? So here we will write the one part, what role played by moderates, and in second part we will write about the limitations of moderates. Limitation of moderates. So the question is having the 2 parts because we need to comment on the given situation. So we will write in both the way. One way we will write the work done by the moderates, the reforms done by the moderates, and how it's prepare a platform for the wider freedom movement. But in the second part, we will write the limitation of the moderates. They focus on a very small, narrow base instead of focusing on all over India. So we will see in the body part, we will write a 2 part here, and then we conclude the answer. So in introduction, you will write about from 1885 to 1905. You can also write about the phase of moderates. The phase of moderates was started in the modern history from the 1870 to the after the 1870 80. In this phase, you can quote the name of some of the moderates' name like the W.C. Banerjee, S.K. Banerjee, and some of the other moderates' name you can quote here, Dadabhai Naroji. And you can write about these moderates. These are the moderates who play a very crucial role in preparing a base for the wider freedom movement. And you can also write one line about their working nature, like they will focus on the 3 things: petition, prayer, and protest. They work on 3 P: petition, prayer, and protest. So in the introduction, you can write about the moderate phase starting from the late 1870, and it was like some of the moderates. We can give the example of the W.C. Banerjee. We can give the example of the Dadabhai Naroji in this phase. And their working nature was about the belong to the 3 P: the petition, prayer, and the protest, on which they work. Then we will start the body part. I hope the introduction is clear to everyone. If you have any doubts, you can also comment in the comment section. Let's make it interactive session. Okay, now come to the body part. So in the introduction, it's clear to us. Now in the body part, we will write the two part here. One part will be the contribution of moderates in preparing a base. The contribution of moderates in preparing a base for the freedom movement, which is the main demand of the question. So this is the main demand of the question. We will write the 6-7 points, but with example we will write. If you're writing the example, you will get an extra marks, an extra age in the paper. Then we will focus on the limitation of moderates. Yes, they prepare a base for the national movement, it's fine, but there was a certain limitation of the moderates as well. So if we see about their contribution of the moderates, we can highlight some of the timelines or some of the methods done, but they are like some of the methods they use for preparing this base. Number one was, we can say, the economic critics. Moderates was the economic critics of the British policy. If you read the NCERT of the 12th class, you will find that there are certain names. The Dadabhai Naoroji wrote a book on un-British policy of India related to the economy. So you can quote the examples. So economic critics, they are specifically critic to the British economic policy. Second is about the economic reforms. Economic reforms, they focus on the certain economic reforms like the land revenue tax. British were charging the high land revenue tax, so they are protesting against it. Okay, we need to reform the land. Other type of taxation on the general public, they also protest for it. And they're asking about, we need some kind of the reforms in this taxation structure. So they start connecting with the masses there. In the third case, you can write about the administrative reforms. Administrative reforms. In administrative reform, you can write about the separation of the judicial from the executive or the one of the region there. They will protest against it. You need, where they ask to the British judiciary to separate from the executive. So there is need a separation of power there. Next, you can write about they want to involve in the law-making process of the British, so entering into the system. So these are some of the ideas, some of the steps taken by the moderates for creating a social base, for preparing a base for the national movement. If we list down these in a few points in the form of answer, we can list down in this way with some of the examples. Like economic critic. I already told you about the economic critic, the Dadabhai Naoroji, poverty and the un-British rule of the India. Then the R.C. Dutt, economic history of India. These are the major economic critics, those who criticize the British policy. The drain of the wealth concept came from here. I hope कि सबने drain of the wealth concept पढ़ा होगा. That came from here. Then the next step is a demand of the economic reforms. I already told you about it. The reduction of tax expenditure, because they are spending too much there. Reduction of the SALT, abolition of the SALT tax, we can say. And the SALT is connecting with each individual of the country. If there is abolition of the SALT tax, then the SALT is consumed by everyone in the country and it's connect moderate with the social base, with everyone in the country. Then the abolition of the SALT tax. Reduction of the land revenue assessment. Land revenue assessment, because they are charging the high land revenue. The land revenue policy was very, we can say, they are not with the people, they are against the people. They are charging the high land revenue charges to the individual. Then we can see the administrative reforms. They want the separation of judiciary from the executive. And they want some reforms in the bureaucracy as well, because the bureaucracy was very oppressive. They are oppressing the individual, they are oppressing the public, they are oppressing the commons. So they want some of the change in the bureaucracy as well. So you need to write the examples in which way they done the economic reforms, in which way they criticize the economic policy of the British, how they help in the administrative reforms, and how they connect with the social base. Then if we are coming to the constitutional reforms, they ask British to expansion of the councils, addition of the Indian into the council. Initially, there was no Indian in the council. So after that, the Indian Council Act of the 1892 passed. After the intervention of the moderates, the Council Act of 1892 was passed. So that was the major role there. To enter into the system and controlling through the system and bring change through the system was a process of the moderates. Then the political mobilization, freedom fighters ke saath mobilization. If like through these process, through all these process, they involve with the social masses, general public, all linked with the moderates, and they are then start with the involving with the freedom fighters as well. If we see the phase after the 1905 formation of the Congress, in the 1885 was a major work done by the moderates. So they have a bigger platform now. They have a bigger platform now to represent the common issue at national level. But that was also done by the moderates. Then we can say the national awakening of commons. National awakening of commons means the national awakening of general public, through telling them about the British policy, telling them about the British are done with the Indian economy, and some of the other law act which are designed by the British government. So they're awakening the common people. They were awakening the common people. So these were the major steps taken by the moderates for the national movement, which prepare a base for the upcoming years, which was a very helpful during the extremist phase, which started after the moderates. Okay, I hope it's clear to everyone. These are the points you need to write in the answer, and the framing is also the same kind. You're writing the heading, then subheadings with examples, subheadings, then example. You need to write according to this. But there was certain limitation as well. It's not like moderates were perfect. There was a certain limitation as well. Number one, the nature of their working. They are working through the prayer. They're working through petition. They're working through protest. That will take a longer time, and maybe their prayer protest was not accepted by the British government. That's one of the reason of their limitation. Second reason, they always ask for a limited government. They always ask for a limited government, means they always try to be part of the Britisher. They want, we can be the part of the Britisher and we will run with the limited government. उन्होंने कभी full-fledged government का मांग ही नहीं किया. They are asking about the limited government. This was another limitation of the moderates. Then, after the limited government, what was our major issue? The social base, social activities. at that time the Indian society, their social activities, वहाँ की social प्रथाएं जो चलती थी, they are not targeting them, they are not focusing on that social activities, they are not focusing on उस time की जो प्रथाएं चल रही थी उस पर focus नहीं करते थे. So they are not focusing there. Then the democratic right. Democratic right for the general public. They were focusing just only for the democratic right of the educated people at that time. So this was also the major reason. So we can say they asked always for the limited government. Their method was not correct, the prayer, petition, and the protest. They're not focusing on the social activities and social base and the democratic right only for the educated people at that time. Education was very less at that time, but they are asking for the democratic right for only for the educated people. So these were the limitations. If we need to write in a proper way, we can write in this way. Methodology of moderates. Number one, focus on only in a limited self-government. They are never visualize a clean separation. This is British government, this is Indian government. They always like this is the British and the Indian government. We will work in a limited self-government manner. Social issues पे उन्होंने ज़्यादा focus ही नहीं किया. They always neglect the social issues. Then their approach was very different. The prayer, petition, and the protest. So these were the issue related to it. Then the limited programs and demanding the democratic rights only for the educated member of society. Moderates were the educated, but they are not recognized. They are failed to recognize the British rule. So if I summarize in the both the part, in the introduction, you will write about the phase of the moderates starting from the late 1870, and you can give the examples and also about the method they are using for the creating a social base. Second is about you in the body part, you will write the methods taken by the moderates for creating a social base for the national movement. In this, you will write about these points: the economic critics, about the Dabai analogy, poverty of un-British rule, ask the economic history of India, and the demands of the economic reforms, then the administrative reforms, constitutional reforms, political mobilization. You will write this in the first body part. In the second part, we will write about the limitation of the moderates, why the moderates were not much successful, their methods, their neglecting of the social issue, their methods of approach, the protest, prayer, and petition, limited program and demanding the democratic right only for the educated one, and failed to recognize the British rule. These are some of the points you can mention in your answer and try to add examples in the points as well. So finally, let's conclude the answer. In conclusion, you will write a balance points from the both the aspects. Moderates was very crucial in generating the social base. It helped through the entering the government itself. Their help in the creating the law which respect the Indians. You can mention the Indian Council Activity 92, increasing the numbers of members in the council. But on the another way, their methods, their neglection of the social base were the issue related to the moderates. You can conclude in the 2 lines, and the conclusion is much important as the introduction ends. So always try to conclude your answer. Okay, anybody have any doubts you can mention in the comment section? Anybody? Okay, so this is done for today. Tomorrow you will get a new question. That will be day 8. Please try to write the answer and submit to the Edukemy portal. The answer will be evaluated by our expert mentor. Then attend these classes after writing the answer. We are starting our GS main support program and the test series. It's a completely support to the candidate, those who are writing the first time. Who are writing the first time means those who qualify the prelims or no, that's not an issue here. If you're writing the first time, you can join the GS main support program, where we are providing you the practice test, model answers of the previous year questions, even the after test discussion. We're covering almost the 500 plus question here, plus the question of the UPSC, the GS PYQ. And the discussion will be to the point, what to write, what not to write, how to write. And the special mentors also assigned there. So if you are interested in this program, you can connect to the Edukemy team. Thank you very much.